Oh man. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. This is the day that the Lord has made, and let us rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. Just a little thought. Today is Monday, December the 29th. We have today and 2 more days after today. Before we step into a new year, before we step, jump, run, glide, fly, float, swim into the new year. And I was just thinking, this year, talking to a friend of mine a couple of minutes ago, we went to Walmart, and she was saying how this year. Good morning, Sean. That this year wasn't a good year for her. And Pastor said that yesterday in church about this year has been a tumultuous. It has been a worrisome, a bothersome, a sad, a year for a lot of people. And I was thinking about that, and I'm saying, yeah, it really has. My mom passed away in October, and now I understand when people say my mom passed away on this day at this time. 25 years ago, 30 years ago, and you could remember that. That's like something that stays with you. And after Sunday school yesterday, one of my church members, we there was a conversation that we were having in Sunday school, and it was about if you've never been through anything, an alcoholic cannot tell a crackhead, and a person who's never did alcohol, crack, any kind of drugs, I have never did anything, can't tell someone how to survive something that they have not been through. Y'all excuse me, I forgot to put my teeth in this morning when I went to Walmart, and I'm not gonna put it in just because I'm on live. But anyway, and was trying to get a person to understand, if you have never been through something, you can't tell a person how God help you can't overcome that situation that you've been in. And it was like it was so hard for her to get what people were saying. Then I said, you know what? I said the bottom line is, if you ain't never been through nothing, you can't tell me nothing. You can't tell me how to overcome something that you have never been through. If you've been through it, we can identify. And when you're witnessing, we were talking about witnessing to someone, and you when you're witnessing to someone, you let them know, that look, we all sin and fall short of the glory of God, and you let them know, you put you first before you start, witnessing to a person, and you don't go into details, but you let them know, look, I've been out there in that world, and then if they start telling you their story, and you tell them a little bit about your story, and they go, well, I wasn't that bad. Sin is sin. There's no little sin, no big sin. All sin is sin. And when they say that, oh well, I wasn't that bad, or wow, that was really bad, you still witness to that person, and you can understand. And when they say, I done did some really bad things because of my walk, get into where I am now, I can identify with a person that's out there in the street, out there in the world, who's been through, who's done drugs, who's sold drugs, and some of the things that they may be doing. I may have done some of the same things they did, or maybe not, or they did some of the same things that I did. And we were talking about that in Sunday school. And this, after Sunday school, this one of the sisters came up to me, and she said, and I said, it's just like Pastor always saying, because your mom is dead, my mom is dead, you don't know how I feel. So you can't say, oh, I know how you feel. No, you can sympathize with me because your mom is dead, but you don't know the feelings that I have because of my mom is being dead. So that led up to one sister coming up to me, and she never came, my mom been dead over a month now, and she said, I'm sorry I didn't come to you and offer my condolences, and I said, that's okay. And she started to cry. She said, it's been because of your mom passing away, it just opened up some things. And it's been 15 years that my mom has passed. And I told her, look, I totally understand. I don't understand what she's going through, but I understand your mom passed away 15 years ago, and that sadness, it hurts and it comes back. It comes back when it want to come back. You have no control over um when the thought come back, when the feeling you felt when your mom passed away. You have no control, and it comes in spurts. It comes at sometimes it just pop up on you, because that's the way it's happening with me. I really haven't been through I haven't started grieving my mom yet, because there's a lot of things with her estate that I'm trying to deal with. So I haven't had that time to even process, you know, um, her death yet, her not being here. I know she's not here, and I know she's dead, and she's transpired, and I know that, but I haven't had the time to just sit down and just really grieve my mom, because I'm going through a lot of things with her estate, and going through with a lot of other stuff that's concerning my mom. So that part, about about it was opened up again her feelings, and I got that, and I really got that. And I told her, look, it's okay, it's okay, I understand, it comes and it goes, it comes and it goes. And so I was thinking back when my friend this morning, we were going to the store, coming from the store, and she said, Marita, you know what, I can really feel the Holy Spirit with you. And I said, well, I appreciate that, because there's one thing I don't do. I don't play with God. I'm just not that brave. I'm not that arrogant. I'm not that stupid. I just don't play with God. And she said, 2025 was just, it was just a bad year for me. And I said, um, we were talking about that in church yesterday, and I said, a lot of people say that. And I say 2023 would have been a bad year could have been a bad year for me as well, because my mom passed away. And I said, but even in her passing, I see the good in that, because I can remember almost 15 years ago, to be exact, I prayed the prayer that Hezekiah prayed, and God prolonged his life for 15 years. And I asked God, I said, Lord, my mom was in the hospital at that time, and I asked God, I said, Lord, just give me 15 more years with my mom, like you did Hezekiah. I'm just asking for 15 years. That's all. And I believe it was exactly like 15 years. And I thought about that. And when my mom, God, and I told her God had prepared me for my mom not coming home out of the hospital alive, because I sat on the side of my bed and I prayed and asked God to strengthen me however it goes. If I had to go and take care of my mom, or if my mom passed away, give me the strength to endure taking care of my mom, give me the strength to cope with my mom no longer being here. And I saw good, you know, even during the time that she was in the hospital, I saw how God was strengthening me. I saw how God was keeping me. I saw how God was not letting me fall apart. I saw how God was not letting me be afraid, because I'm an only child. And this is the time that I wish I had an older brother and an older sister, that they could just take care of everything, that I didn't have to do anything, but just be who I am and do what I want to do, go see my mama, be with my mama, not have to take care of anything. And that was the time I was saying, Lord, I wish I had an older brother, and I wish I had an older sister, and I wouldn't have to go through these things, like, right. And my daughter was a godsend, but it didn't fall on her. I was putting it on her, and she was carrying that. But after Everything else, she said, "Mom, you're gonna have to take care of the rest of this now." She said, "I'm in school." She said, "Jordan is in school." And she said, "I just got a lot going on. And now it's time for you. You got to do this. And I know that you can do it." And the thing was, she knew I could do it. God knew that I can do it, but I didn't know that I can do it. But however, I had already prayed and asked God to give me the strength to go through, to do, to be, to hold up, to be strong for whatever I am facing. Give me the strength to go through it. And then when I realized, even in something that seemed like it was so bad, so detrimental, that I saw God all in the midst. I saw how God gave me hope. God gave me strength. He gave me strength that I didn't know that I had. God gave me an understanding that I did not even understand, that I didn't understand. And even in my mom passing away, not being here anymore, I saw the good in that. I saw the good in it because one, she's not suffering. She did not suffer. God did not allow her to suffer. God allowed me to do the right thing towards my mom. At the end, I know the kind of life that she lived. I know the kind of life that she did not want to live. So I knew that. So God gave me the strength to tell them to discontinue whatever they have, medication, unhook her, let her go. God gave me the strength to do that. And even in doing that, God opened up my heart. God took the scales off my eyes that I could see things more clearly. And I say all of that. We are going forward. We're not going backwards. We're heading into a new year. We're heading into a new year. Don't know what the new year gonna bring. Don't know what the new year gonna bring, but I don't. And I was telling myself, I think Saturday morning, I was just laying in bed and I just thinking. And I'm saying, Lord, I thank God that I survived Christmas. And Christmas, I just needed to be alone. For some reason, I just wanted to be by myself. I needed that silence. I needed that peace. And God was, and it was so good. It gave me time to think about things. It gave me time to cry about things. Gave me time to be angry about things, and it gave me time to get over the anger. It gave me time enough to come to terms with things, and it was just a beautiful day, and I survived Christmas. I wasn't going to go to church Sunday. Didn't really feel like going to church. Just didn't want to go to church. And I called my friend and I said, I texted her about 3 o'clock in the morning. And I said, I'm not going to church this morning. So I said, well, I'm gonna just lay here. And I tossed and I turned and I lay all over the bed. Just couldn't get right. Couldn't get comfortable. Then I think I went to sleep around by maybe 4:30, 5 o'clock. I went to sleep, but then I'm right back up at 6:45 because normally on Sunday I'm up 4 o'clock in the morning. Couldn't sleep, and I said, well, and couldn't sleep. Got up and I said, well, I might as well go to church. So I called my friend down the hall, and she told me Saturday that she was going to church. She felt better, good enough to go to church. So I say, okay, see you there. Didn't tell her that I wasn't going to church. However, God made it to where I couldn't rest, convicted me. And about 6:45, I called her and I said, you still going to church? I said, would it be okay if I tag along? She said, yeah. So we leave out 9 o'clock. We leave out, get to Sunday school. And I was in the shower and I was just talking with God. And I said, Lord, you know, you don't owe me nothing, but I owe you everything. And I said, you right, Holy Spirit. God owe me absolutely nothing. I owe him everything. So who am I thinking I'm doing God a favor by going to church or not go? I'm hurting God feelings because I don't go to church that day. And when I got to church, I just felt so good. I felt so good. The sermon was so good, and I wore this dress right. And the pastor's son, he and his wife, they came down. He's in the military, and he came down and his wife, and I'm passing out, cards and stuff like that. And I'm looking, and I look at her dress. She and I got on the same dress, and we just started laughing. And it was just a beautiful day. And then when I'm talking to my friend, and she was talking about, oh, how this year it has been. It has been a year. I'm not gonna say if it was good or bad, indifferent, or what kind of year it's been. It's been a year. 2025 was the year of reckoning. It was the year of reckoning. A lot of colors has been pulled. A lot of people has been exposed. And a lot of people eyes have been open, ears have been open. And I said, Lord, and I was thinking about that, and I said, well, today is the 29th. We have 2 more days, 2.5 more days before we go into 2026. I don't make New Year's resolutions. I stopped doing that years ago because the very thing that I say I wasn't going to do was the things that I always end up doing. And then I was lying to myself. So I say, Lord, I don't know what the new year is going to bring. So I'm going to end the year the same way I want to start the year. I'm going to end it the way that I want to start it. I'm going to end the year in church, and I'm going to start it in church, going to watch night, going to have a good time. Going into the new year, I'm faced with so much stuff going into the new going into the new year. And I was so overwhelmed with stuff that I have to do concerning my mom's estate. And so I was just so overwhelmed. And I just wanted to say, I don't really even care. I don't care what happens. And I talked with my pastor, and he said, Marita, he said, what I'm hearing from you is that you're so overwhelmed now. He said, what I want you to do, get you a tablet, write down everything that you got to do step by step by step by step. And when he was telling me that, I was just tense. I was so tense all up in my shoulders and in the back of my neck, the tension. And so when I got off the phone with him, I got one of my journals, and I just start writing down everything, and I could feel the tension leaving, because now inch by inch it's a cinch, yard by yard it's hard, meaning do what you can, how you can, and when you can. When you're trying to do everything at one time, it gets overwhelming. So now I'm coming into the new year, hopefully, prayerfully, and if it's God's will, coming into the new year with a new mindset. When my mom passed away, it's just like scales fell off my eyes, like I said, and my heart opened, and I'm more receptive to things. And um it's just a difference. I know, and I feel the difference. I don't know what God is up to. That's not my business, what God is up to. All I got to do is go through this process, not by myself, but God is already there. So God has already taken care of what it is. The blessing is already there, at the end. The blessing is already there. I just got to go through the process. I got to go through the process with the right attitude. I got to go through the process with open heart. My heart posture has to be right. And I know there's going to be moments I got to go through this and don't have a give up attitude, don't have a spirit of fear. I know I got to walk through this, but however, I know I'm not walking through this alone. I'm not physically, mentally, and spiritually. I have grown and been strengthened through this. With my mama passing, mentally, I have been strengthened. Physically, I be saying, I'm tired of being strong. I'm tired of being the strong friend. I'm tired of being the strong mom. I'm tired of just being that strong person. However, I just want to I just sometimes I just feel like I want to crumble, and I just want to cry. I just want to yell out. However, God didn't build me that way. God didn't build me to be um feeling sorry for myself. He didn't. I'm not built that way. I am a soldier in the army of the Lord. And God said, I don't have no weak soldiers. So God strengthened my mind. God strengthened my head, and He gave me an understanding. He gave me an understanding that I never understood before until now. And going into the new year, I said, this is the only thing. Good morning, Mimi. This is the only thing that I said that I was going to do in the new year. I said it was only two things that I was going to do, two things that I was not going to do. That was going out of my way for people and going backwards and forth with people. I'm not going tit for tat. I'm not meeting where I'm matching energy. I'm not matching energy. I'm going to meet you where you are. I'm going to meet you where you are. And if we can't get it together in that meeting where you are and where I am, then I have no problem in walking away. It's just so easy to walk away from a situation. For me, it's easy for me to walk away from a situation because I'm not going to allow nothing to disturb my peace. I ain't going to let nothing disturb my joy. I'm not going to let nothing get me off course because I am on a journey right now. And this journey that I'm on right now, I don't need the I don't need the hassle. I don't need to be bothered. And I can't worry about self-care. Self-care is the most important care. Self-care is the most important care. And what I'm trying to say and what I want to say, I don't know. I know it's two people on here. Monica and Sean is on here. There's three people that's watching. And and I don't know whoever else will watch this, whoever else going to watch this. But I want to just say this right now. If you're going through anything, whatever you're going through right now, ride it on out. Ride it on out. Don't hold on to it. Don't let it fester, whatever feelings that you have. I mean, get those feelings out your system right now because time is not winding back. It's not winding back for nobody. Time is always moving forward. Time is always going forward. It just keep on moving. It just keep on moving. And as time moves, you're either going to stay stagnant or you're going to move with time. You're gonna stay and fester about what didn't happen, what should have happened, what could have happened. If it didn't happen, it wasn't the time for it to happen, or God didn't mean for it to happen. And if something happened to just kind of rock you a little bit, that had you going like you were in a boat, feeling like you was tossed to and fro. But however, if you woke up the next morning, every morning you wake up, God is giving you another chance to either deal with it or let it deal with you. And we have that choice. We have that choice. And I'm telling you, this year, it was like when Cat Williams did that interview with Shannon Sharp, and he said 2025 will be the year of reckoning. He was not lying. You were either gonna, and I thought about that, and I said, you know what? I'm either gonna make it. I'm not faking anything. I'm gonna sink or I'm gonna swim. I'm going to sink or I'm going to swim. And if I don't know how to swim, I'm out there flapping around in that water until I learn how to start floating and put one hand moving that water and moving that water until I get to shore. Because I'm not going to sink. So going into the new year, whatever is ailing you physically or mentally or spiritually, whatever is going on with you mentally, if you need to talk to someone, go get the help that you need. Don't be afraid. Don't be embarrassed. Just get what you go and get the help that you need. Get your mental. Get your mental. And when your mental is on tight, and that's like an awakening. And when you get your mental and you get into your word with God, if you're not a person that don't believe in God, I don't know what to tell you. Because see, you said some people say, well, it ain't no God. Because how can you believe in something you don't see? You believe in the air, you breathe in the air and you don't see the air. Let the air cease to be, and you won't be won't be breathing. You'll be just like a fish out of water, gulping, gulping, gulping. So get your mental, get your mental for whatever battle. So you if you get your mental right and you'll be able to face anything. You don't have to get ready because you already ready. Be ready so you don't have to get ready. So things don't catch you at a point where you be saying, man, I didn't see this coming. No, we never see things coming. But as long as you're mental and you're spiritual and you're in a physical, long as those three things are in line, are intact, you can stand. You can stand. You can stand for whatever is coming your way. And I'm not even claiming I'm in a battle because people say, oh, it's gonna take a long time because my mom didn't have anything like down in writing because she thought she had more time to get all of that in order. And I was looking at my mom one day, she was in the hospital the day my mom passed on a Friday, and I think it was on a Wednesday. I was looking at her, and it was on the tip of my tongue to ask her, "Where are your papers?" My daughter had came in, and she said she looked at my mom's feet, and she said, "Mom," and she started crying, and she said, "Mom, I don't think Grandma gonna make it." I said, "Don't say that." She said, "Mom, look at her feet." She said, "Her feet, she's not going to make it." And I asked my daughter, I said, just be strong for me because I don't need for you to fall apart right now. I needed my daughter medical opinion, and I was drawing, I needed something just to hold on to at that time. And she said, I don't think Grandma going to make it. I just don't think Grandma going to make it. And when my daughter left, and it was on the tip of my tongue to ask my mom, where are your papers? Where are your insurance papers? Where are your papers? Where do you have things written down? And where are all the important papers? And I did ask because I didn't want her to think that I was making her, I didn't want to make my mom uncomfortable by talking about something like that. And my mom would never talk to me about it because she didn't think I was strong enough to hear that. So early up in the year, I had because my one of my friends passed, a couple of my friends passed away, and I was telling my daughter, I said, look, I got to get some insurance. I don't know how I'm gonna pay for this insurance. I said, however, I know I got to get it because I don't want nobody having no fish fry for me. I don't want when I pass away. I don't want to be sitting out no week or 2 weeks or nothing like that. I want to be put in the ground. And if I pass away on a Friday, Wednesday, Thursday, I want to be in the ground. And so I got my insurance, and I got a place for that insurance. I tell my daughter where it is so they don't have to tear my apartment apart looking for things and stuff like that. And so what I'm getting what and I believe in my heart with everything I got, every fiber of my being I believe and I know it's already done. It's already done. People say, "Oh, it might take 6, 7, 8 months, and this, that, and the other." And I said, I done heard people say how long it's gonna take, and it may take that long. I don't know, but however, I do know the God that I serve, and I do know the God that I serve. So if it happens, if something comes up, then that's God way of telling me not right now. Wait, you got to process. There's a process. So I got to take each step. There's a process to get into my blessing, get into the blessing. There's a process, then get to the blessing. And I pray that God just continue to give me the strength to keep going, just to keep going. So I already done said his will is going to be done anyway. So we're going into a new year. So going into a new year, let go of what is holding you. If you feeling like stagnant, let go of animosity, let go of dislike, um, let go of hurt feelings. If you're waiting for someone to apologize and they ain't apologized in 6, 7 months, they're not gonna do it. Get over it. Get over it and move on. However, if you need to go and apologize, if you need to go and ask somebody to forgive you for something that you did or something that you said, don't let your pride stand in the way. Don't let and the person may not even accept it. However, forgiveness is, yes, for that other person, but forgiveness is more so for yourself. It is more so for yourself. And you still might be sleeping good at night, but you're not sleeping as good as you could. And your conscience is not clear and your hands are not clean because of something you said about a person, something that you did, or something that you didn't do and you knew was going on and you didn't speak up, or you could have stopped the person from doing something, or you could have stood up for someone and you didn't do that. Don't take old resentments, old habits. Don't take them into the new year because the new year is a new year. You're moving forward. You're moving forward. So move forward. Move past that old nasty way of thinking. Move past that old nasty attitude that you could get. Move past being petty. Move past hating on somebody. Move past that in order to grow. In order to grow, in order to be blessed, because God don't bless no mess. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care how many scriptures somebody quote. I don't care about how good it sounds. I don't care about, we got all these little sayings, and you got your group, I got my group, she got their group, everybody got a group. Move past that. There's some people in your life right now that you really need to let go of. And why you're hanging on to them, because they bring absolutely nothing to your life. They bring absolutely nothing to your life. And it is some people that I had to let go of, and I'm letting go of. And I say, the moment I let this, just like really, really let this go, they want to pop back up into my life. No, no, the word says, let your yea be yea and let your nay be nay. Be nay. And if I got to say hell nay, it's going to be hell to the no, no, no. I don't care how much it hurt me. I don't care how lonely I think I'm going to be. I don't care because I want to cross that Jordan. I want to I want to be I want to go to I'm going to paradise. I'm going to heaven. I'm going to be in that number. This is earth is the dressing up room. This is the dressing up room. How I live here determine where I'm going. So I'm going to be as peaceful as possible with everybody, even the haters and the naysayers and the doubters. I'm going to be as peaceful as I possibly can. Because my great grandma always said, there's enough room in the world for everybody to be how they want to be. You could be how you want to be in your space, and I could be how I want to be in my space. There's nothing, and like Deion Sanders say, what about me would make you think that I care about what you feel about me? I can't worry about what a person say about me. I can't worry about what a person feel about me because they had a right to feel what they want to say. And they got the right to say whatever they want to say behind my back. But I guarantee you, if they not that bold to come in my face and say it. It ain't about being bad, but I know who I am and I know what I stand for. And I am, if I've said something to offend someone, if I've done something to offend someone, I am not so big, I am not so arrogant that I cannot go back to that person and ask that person to forgive me. What I thought about you ain't none of your business. I was thinking that you ain't know nothing about it until if I said something. However, if you know that I've said something, if I've done something, and it offended you, and if I feel like, dang, I said I offended that person, I go to that person. Even though I know that person don't care for me, I'm still going because I don't want that. I don't want my hands dirty like that. And I can't praise God properly knowing that I offended someone. So going forward, let's just move like forward. And I said, I'm coming back. I am coming back. And my mindset is eventually somebody will find out about this channel. Eventually, somebody will hear just passing, just strolling. I get out there in the algorithm and somebody like what it is I'm saying. Then they'll tell somebody, then somebody else will tell somebody, and then somebody else will tell somebody. And eventually my channel will grow. However, to make it grow, I have to be um I have to be diligent. I have to continue on, and that's the only way that anything grows. You got to work at it. And so now I feel like I really do want to work at it because I'm not worried about the numbers now. I'm not, because I always used to look at my subscribers. They come and they go, they come and they go. You know, I'm gonna always be friends with Anthony. And when I say that, it's like, shoot, they just do the Nicki Minaj on me, right? Like they said, Nicki Minaj done lost like over 1 million of her subscribers, right? People get angry at me, you know. And it's just nice to be friends with someone. I know everybody's not going to like me, and I'm not for everybody. I am not for everybody, and I totally get it. I totally get it. I am not everybody cup of tea, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. But you don't have to be rude and you don't have to be nasty, and everybody have their opinions about, because opinions are like pennies. You walk down the street, get out your car, and you'll find a whole row of pennies. They're everywhere. Everybody got them. And I respect everybody. I respect everybody's opinion. I don't try to change it. I try to give you a different way of thinking about it, or a different way of looking at it. I'm never gonna try to make you think like I think, because sometimes my thinking is like really far off. So I can agree to disagree and say, come on, let's go down here to the crab hut and get us some crabs and have a margarita. I can do that, but people take things so personal. And when I say self-care is the best care, you know what? You can allow a person to have their opinion. And that don't change your opinion. That's not going to change my opinion. It's not going to change my opinion, and I'm not going to get angry at your opinion. I'm going to sit and I may even think about it to see where I can see that. I can see where it could be like that. It can appear like that. However, if I think, you know what, I never thought about it that way. I never saw it that way, and then I can still form an opinion from that. So that's how I'm walking into the new year. I'm letting everybody be who they are. I'm walking into the new year, and I had to tell a couple of people this. I told my daughter this yesterday. My expectations of people on Sunday morning when I get up and I say, Lord, I'm, I'm going to church this morning. I expect to hear the word. I expect to get a word because I'm gonna hear the word. I expect to get a word. I go to church with expectation. I'm expecting from something from God. I'm looking for something from God. And so my expectation is never in vain. So with people, I have no expectation in people. Because when you know a person and you know what a person do, have done, and is doing, why would your expectation be any different in that person? Why would you be expecting for a person to change? Why would you be expecting for a person to do something different when they do the same thing over and over and over and over and over? Why do you expect for them people to change? They haven't changed from the time that you know them. They lie about the same thing. They doing the same thing over and over and over. But your expectation, you got expectation. I'm expecting no. I say, you know what? I am not. My expectation in people is none. Is from zero to none. I have none in them. Whatever a person do, that's what I expect them to do. Whatever a person say, that's what I expect them to say. You got to know when people bringing you something. My great grandma saw a dog that bring a bone, a carry a bone. Meaning, if somebody bringing something to you, guarantee you they taking something back. They may not take it back the way you said it because it's never when you saying something. Somebody's telling you something and you say something about it. They never take it back the way you said it. You could be so gentle in your delivery, but they could go back. But girl, she said this way, and this the way she said it. So them people, what do you expect from um a mess starter? A person who like to keep mess going, a person who like to be center of attraction when they feel like the light is not on them anymore, so they got to get the spotlight back on them. So what do you expect? And so that's what I was telling a young lady in church, and she was on the phone with her brother or something, and I was standing outside, and we were talking about. I was saying something to her. She said, "Oh, let me get off this phone so I could." So then, and I said, "Well, what's wrong?" She said, "Miss Ruth, I was just on the phone. My son's father gave him a car, but the car is not running, and he's leaving that up to me." And I was just telling my brother. So I said, her son name is Jordan. My granddaughter name is Jordan. I said, "Oh, Jordan got a car." She said, "Yeah, but Miss Rita, I got to fix the car up. His dad gave him a car." And she said, "Oh, he just makes me so sick." I said, "Why?" And she looked at me and said, "Why? Why? Because he giving me this car. He didn't even have the decency to fix the car up for my son. He just gave my son the car." I said, "But why are you upset?" I said, "I've seen you like this before because of something that he has done." I said, "Did you expect anything different from him?" So no. I said, "Well, why would your expectations be any different this time?" I said, "When you know who a person is, why do you expect something different from them? When you know how they are, you don't get upset. You don't get upset. You know you're doing what you got to do. You're getting the car fixed for your son, even though it's costing you money to fix. He gave it, but you the one fixing the car. So why would your expectations be any different than from what they used to be? He ain't changed. And all these years you know him, he ain't changed. So why would your expectation, you always expecting him to do better, expecting him to do better, and he's showing you he is not gonna do better. And you get angry, angry, and angrier. So no, when you don't expect, when you know who a person is, that's right. When people show you who they are, believe them. So your expectation, your feelings won't get hurt. You won't get angry. You won't get upset. You don't be wanting to bust somebody's head open to the white meat. You don't want to do none of that. You don't want to do none of that because my expectation is so low in a person and people. They have to build up. What is that ringing? Wait a minute. What the heck? Oh, okay, okay, I get it. Okay. Oh, the cleaning lady is out cleaning, vacuuming the hall. Yeah, we have people that come in and keep the halls vacuum and clean the windows and all of that. So that's what that is. But yeah, why your ex? And she said, you know what? I never thought about it that way, Miss Rita. You right. You right. And she walked out. She said, you know what, Miss Rita? You make me so mad sometimes 'cause you be making so much sense. Then I would say, girl, hi. I said, that's what we do. Teach one, reach one. So going into the new year, if people done showed you who they are over and over and over and time again, stop beating yourself up. Stop getting upset with people. Stop getting angry with people. Do what it is that you need to do for your sanity, for your peace, for your understanding. And I guarantee you, when you stop expecting something from people that you know that you're not going to get, it drops the temperature. It drops the temperature. Don't worry about what they think. Don't matter about what they say. Long as you are okay, long as you are good. Because stepping into 2026, you know what I did? I lost my selfishness. I stopped being selfish. I said, walking into 2026, I'm gonna be so selfish. I'm gonna be selfish with my time. I'm gonna be selfish with my presence. I'm going to be selfish with my conversations. Like I said earlier, my yay going to be yay and my no is going to be no, period. Not no exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, no dot, 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 no question mark, question mark, question mark, no, period. I'm not explaining myself because I don't owe anyone no explanation. When I say no, it's no, period. And me and my friend, we were talking last night because I called her and I told her, I said, you know what, I really appreciate you and I really love you. And I just wanted you to know that. And it was something about um young man did a testimony in church yesterday. He been in and he was incarcerated for like he said 32 months. 32 months. Was freed on all charges. And I told her, I said, you know what, in my mind when he was talking, I said, yeah, he gonna go out and do the same thing again. However, when the young man said that he had a dream and it was like three people, he said it was a triangle. It was a man at the top, it was a man on each side. And all three of the men said, this your last chance. The second man said, this your last chance. The third man said, this is your last chance. And when he finally realized, next time, and she said, Marita, she said, girl, I was thinking the same thing. She said, because you know just as well as I know that he was guilty of all them charges. I said, well, I don't know. I can't speculate and I don't want to assume. She said, girl, shut up. You do know he was guilty. And I said, I don't want to judge. I don't want to judge. You know, he could have been guilty of all of them. I don't know, because I don't want, just like I said, I want my hands to be clean. I don't want to be judging nobody. So, but when that young man said that was his last chance, because he know if he get in any more trouble, it's a wrap. He was facing 120 years. And his lawyer had pleaded, his lawyer told him to take the plea bargain, 10, don't take it to trial and just do the 10 years. He said, no. He said he had been having these dreams. And he told the lawyer, we're going to take it to trial. And the lawyer said, okay. And he said the jury stayed out for 2 hours. Then they came back and they asked the judge a question. And then they went back for 20, he said for 20 minutes. He said they came back again. And he said, I knew something was up when I looked at the judge, when he got the slip from the jury and he opened it up and he looked at it and the judge just closed his eyes and shook his head. And every charge he was found not guilty, not guilty, not guilty. 32 counts. He was found not guilty. So tell me if that was not God. Tell me there is no God. And so nobody can tell me that wasn't God. Nobody can tell me that God wasn't in the midst, because his mom would come and we have a ministry, a singles ministry, and she would ask for prayer for her son. Every time she came on, she would ask for prayer, and we prayed. And one of the sisters said, she said, Miss Marita, it was that the son that we were. She was asking prayer for. I said, yeah. Then and Mother Betty walked off and just shook her head. She said, "Look at God. That's all." And see, that's where I'm looking. I'm looking at God. I'm not looking at people who trying to down me. And like the pastor say, people scheming and plotting and trying to set traps and hating. And you know what? Get you some of these right here. Get you some of these right here and block all that out. These good for the sunshine. They good for those hater block. These I call them hater blockers. They block out all the hate rays and all of that. If you got to get you some Gouda, some Gucci, some Prada, whatever you get, some Michael Kors hater blockers, you can block all of that out. In your mind, your mindset, your mind posture, your heart posture. So going into the new year, baby, I ain't taking all that into the new year with me. Ain't nothing piggybacking into the new year with me. Different mindset, different heart posture, different way of walking, different way of talking, different way of seeing things. And whoever get mad, oh well, be mad. Whoever be upset, oh well, I don't know what to tell you, boo. I don't know what to tell you, boo. My gangster will not be tested. My gangster will not be tested. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I'm not allowing for nobody to take. Before I allow somebody to take to me to a place, I just close my eyes and breathe deep and say a prayer and move on about my business. Because the best care is self care. The best care is self care. And if you don't care about yourself, who gonna care about you? Who gonna care? And people like to see you all tangled up and all discombobulated, looking all crazy, and then your skin start looking crazy, then your hair start falling out. And, no, who's worth that? Who is worth that? Nobody. Like Keith Sweat say, nobody, baby, nobody. Ain't nobody worth that. Nobody's worth that. So whatever you got to wrap up today, tomorrow, and the day after, because Thursday is January the 1st, 2026. Let your mind be different. Let your heart be different. Have a different walk. Have a different talk. Have a different. Say, I got a who say that? I got a new Patty LaBelle. I got a new attitude. Let that be your theme song. And if you ain't there yet, Google it. and Google Patti LaBelle, whatever the name, a new attitude, and start playing it. And start. The more you play it, the more you start feeling it. And when you start feeling that thing, baby, and when you feel like you walking in a different attitude, and Leandra Johnson, she's saying that son, deliver me. Whatever you feel, like, deliver me from being a people pleaser. Deliver me from fear. Deliver me, oh Lord. Them two songs, put them on rotation and keep playing them, keep playing them, keep playing them. And I guarantee you, baby, you gonna you'll be walking like you walking on sun. I'm walking on sunshine, and it feel good. And people gonna be wondering, what happened? What happened? What happened? And all you could say, won't he do? Won't he do it? Wasn't nobody but God. Wasn't nobody but God. So I'm asking, going to this new year with a different attitude, with a different mind frame, a different heart posture. Go into the new year owning it, even if you walking in it afraid. Be afraid and still have faith in yourself. Have faith in yourself that God has brought you from 1 year, because God ain't through with nobody, with none of us yet, because we still here. When God get through with us, we'll cease to be. We was we will not see, we will not hear, we will not smell, we will not taste, we will not be. So every morning, God wake you up. I don't care what is going on around you. I don't care what the situation is. I don't care what the circumstance is. Because you know what? Trouble don't last always. And if you know God, you know the story. It ain't going to be like this always. Because in the end, God is going to get the victory. God is going to get the victory. You may be the vessel that God is using because somebody else is headed in the same direction that you already getting ready to walk out. Because it's three types of persons. It's three type of people. People who in the midst of a storm, people who getting ready to go through a storm, and the people who that's walking out of a storm. So it's three types, and you may be on your way out of that storm. You may be seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, but you know what? It's somebody getting ready to start walking through that tunnel, and it may be somebody that's already in the middle of that tunnel, and they don't see the light yet. They don't see the light, and you could be that vessel. Go through what you're gonna go through. Go through it with your dignity, not prideful. And maybe God trying to teach you how to be humble. Maybe God trying to teach you how to let go of things. Maybe God trying to teach you how to speak up. Maybe God is trying to teach you don't worry about nothing. Maybe God trying to teach you patience. Everything that I just said, that's what God has been teaching me. And if you keep going through the same thing all the time, it's because you're failing the test. Before you go to anybody about anything, go to God. Have a sit down with God and talk to God and tell him all your troubles. What a friend we have in Jesus. All our sins and sorrow to bear. Oh, what a privilege it is to carry everything to God in prayer. And then I guarantee you, God will send the right person to you in the time that you need it. We could talk to God in the spirit, but if you need somebody just to hug you, if you just need a hug from someone, somebody to just listen, God will send you the right person. You ain't got to be going and telling everybody. My pastor have a saying. He said, if you're gonna talk to other people about what's going on, he said, don't come and tell me. He said, don't come and tell me. He said, because if anything get out and I was the last person you talked to, you'd be saying I said that. So if you're gonna talk to somebody before you come to me, don't talk to me. Don't talk to me about it because you don't want my opinion because you done got 10 other opinions. before you came to me. And when he said that, I said, oh, that's so harsh. But now I understand what it means. Because when I have something, I'm praying about it. Then I'm gonna go to the pastor so I could get a understanding. So when I do hear from God, I understand what God is doing. And I go to pastor, and pastor tell people, he said, it was a time Aretha wouldn't come and say nothing to me. He said, but now, he said, now, yes, stop telling people. I see everybody not rooting for you. Everybody is not rooting for you. My pastor has said that before. Either you are going into a storm, you're in a storm, or coming out. And for real. And when you're going through something, you know scripture. You don't need people throwing scripture back at you because you know scripture. You need a encouraging word. You need uplifting. Sometimes you just need for a person to just listen. You just need for a person to listen. So going into the new year, y'all, let it go. Let go and let God. Because he can do more with it than you can. And see, God sitting in rooms right now where conversations are being had about you. God is sitting in places where people are scheming, where people are plotting, where you're talking about your downfall. We were um the subject yesterday of the pastor's sermon was taking a stand, coming out of the book of Daniel. The naysayers and the doubters, they couldn't find no flaw in Daniel, no fault whatsoever in Daniel. But they know Daniel was a righteous man. They know Daniel was a praying man. So what they do, they go to the king to make a decree that nobody worship or pray to nobody but the king. So what Daniel did, Daniel was defiant. Daniel stood in his window. Daniel prayed 3 times a day. And he stood to his window and let them see him pray. And the king then already made a decree, and he can't go back on his word. So what they do? They done plotted, they done schemed, and they done got the lions ready for Daniel and the lions den. But what it say? God made the lions pillars for Daniel to lay his head. And when the king prayed, couldn't sleep that night, tossing and turning, worrying about Daniel. And the God that Daniel, these are the words that king said. His God, let his God, I know his God will save him. The king wasn't even a saved man, but he believed in Daniel so much. How much Daniel believed in his God, he believed in Daniel God. He believed that Daniel God would save him. And when he got up that morning, he went to the lions den and saw that when he opened it, the lions was laying down, and Daniel walked out the lions den. And see, not only didn't the lions not get Daniel, and just like my pastor said, when you lie on somebody, when you scheme and you plotting and planning somebody's downfall, dig a ditch for yourself. And it did not just happen to the people who the lions just didn't eat them. They wasn't just thrown in the lion's den. The wives and the children. So it may not befall you, but it could go on your grandchildren, your children, your husband, your cousin. It could fall on somebody so close to you because of a lie that you told, because you were out there plotting and scheming on somebody. So be careful of what you say about people. Be careful what you say about people to other people. Be careful when you in the rooms with other people, when you in the same room and you hear them plotting and you hear them scheming for somebody downfall. Because surely if they do it to somebody else, you just might be next. All these secret meetings they holding, like they some kind of secret society that they're holding. Remember, they did it to them, they'll do it to you. It may not be your time now, but trust and believe your time is coming. That's why we just need to move forward. Think what you want to think, be however it is that you want to be. Have no expectations in no one. You have no, whatever a person do, you just, hey, look, that's what they do. That's what I expect. That my only expectation in a person is I expect for you to do what you're doing and do it how you do it. I have no other expectations in you, but the key, my expectations is in God. When I seek God, when I pray to God, when I talk to God, when I sit and write God a letter, I expect for that letter to be answered. I expect for that prayer to be answered. And when the prayer, if it's not answered the way I want it, it's all right with me. I'm learning how to let it be all right with me. Because God, if I'm asking God for something, it's going to be better than anything that I could ever expect. Please pray for me and my family. All hell is breaking loose. Me, girl, and I sure will. I really don't know how, I don't know how to do the DM thing. However, if you want to DM me, I don't want to know about it. I just want to know how you're feeling in this. I will put you on my prayer request, you know, because we have a prayer group at at um at church, and I'm gonna tell you, the devil is busy, and if he can't get to you, he will get to he'll trying to break up families and stuff like that, cause disturbance in the family. However, praying and keep praying. And it's like somebody will do something to somebody else in your family just to get to you. That's how Satan is. And you're devastated. Mm-mm, mm-mm. In the mighty name of Jesus. Dear Lord Heavenly Father, I petition you right now. I don't know what's going on. It is not my business, but you know your child. You know what Monica is going through right now. Lord, you know what she's facing. You know what's going on with the family. Lord, I ask you to be in the midst of that. Lord, let your will be done however you see fit for it to be done. Monica is hurting. Monica says she is devastated right now, Father God. Lord, I ask you to just give her a proper way of thinking, a different way of thinking. Give her the right heart posture to go through whatever it is that she's going through with her family right now. And each and every one of those members in that family that's causing whatever kind of disturbance that they're causing in that family right now, Father God, I pray for conviction. I pray that you convict them for their thoughts. I pray that you convict them for their actions. I pray that you convict them for the attitude on which they're doing the things that you're doing. Lord, I pray that you just cover Monica, cover her from her head to the sole of her feet, Father God, and everything that's in between. Lord, give her a clean way of thinking, give her a pure understanding and a pure heart, and give her the strength to go through this and let her know this is not her battle, that she's not dealing with she's not dealing with flesh and blood. She is dealing with principalities and dark places. This is your battle, Father. Monica is your child. And what father would give their child rocks when they're asking for bread? Our Father is not that kind of God. He is not that kind of God. So whatever it is that you're going through right now, Monica, all God is doing right now, God is strengthening you. God is preparing. God is going to prepare. He said in his word, I'll never leave you nor forsake you. Don't lean on your own understanding. Acknowledge God in all of this. Acknowledge God in all of this. He said, I will prepare a table in the front of your enemies. So whatever you got to go through it with your dignity, go through it with the understanding that you are not by yourself. It may feel like it sometimes, but best and believe when you don't hear God's voice, that means God is up to something. God is up to something right now, Monica. God is up to something right now. And it ain't your business. It ain't your job to try to figure it out. Because soon and very soon, And by, God is going to illuminate you with what he was up to. So when there's trouble in the family and you can't seem to get nobody to understand, sometimes you have to leave things alone. Read. I don't like reading out this Bible, but I read it out this Bible right here. Psalms, one of my favorite all-time Psalms. Psalms 27. Psalms 27. It says, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Whom shall I dread? When evildoers came against me to devour my flesh, my foes and my enemies stumbled and fell. Though an army deploys against me, and my heart will not be afraid. Though a war breaks out against me, I will still be confident. I have asked one thing from the Lord. It is what I desire, to dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, gazing on the beauty of the Lord and seeking him in his temple. For he will conceal me in his shelter in the day of adversity. He will hide me under the cover of his temple. He will sit high, he will sit me high on a rock. Then my head will be high above my enemies all around me. And see, when God sits you high up on a rock and you could see above all that, flying above the drama, and then you have a bird's eye view of everything. When you seek God and God just sits you up there, and God will start shining the light on things and shining the light on people. So then my head will be above my enemies all around me. I will offer sacrifices in his tent with shouts of joy. You know what, Monica? You start praising God and thanking God in advance. Start the devastation that you're feeling, you embrace it. Don't wallow in it. Don't stay in it, but embrace it. Because you know why? God see you going through it. God know you're going through it, and God know why you're going through it. However, give God a praise of thanks, shout hallelujah, because it's gonna come a day. Give God a thanksgiving shout of praise in advance because of what he is doing. You may not see God moving right now, but he moving. And when all of this is over, you're gonna see everything that God was doing when you think God wasn't even in the midst, when you thought God was quiet and that God didn't see it. Thank God right now for what he doing. Because at the end, baby, at the end of the day gonna end. The day gonna end. Trouble don't last always. And you know what? This ain't even none of your battle to fight. God just chose you to stand in. God just chose you to stand in. And you stand in it. You don't be moved. Put on that whole armor. And just like it said, my head will be above my enemies around me. I will offer sacrifices in his tent with shouts of joy. I will sing and make music to the Lord. Lord, hear my voice when I call. Be gracious to me and answer me. My heart says this about you. Seek his face. Lord, I will seek your face. Do not hide your face from me. Do not turn your servant away in anger. You have been my helper. Do not leave me or abandon me, God of my salvation. Even if my mother and father abandon me, the Lord cares for me. Because of my adversity, show me your way, Lord, and lead me on a level path. Do not give me over to the wills of my foes, for false witness rise up against me, breathing out violence. I was certain, I am certain that I will see the Lord's goodness in the land of the living. There's a lesson in this, and there's a blessing in this. You got to get the lesson to get the blessing. And it's just that the going through ain't pretty. and it hurt and it's hard sometimes. But when you say, I'm going to go through this, because, and when you realize, this ain't nothing but a lesson. And then ask God what the lesson is. And then when God illuminate you, shine the light on what the lesson is, you know how to go ahead and you know how you be studying for a lesson, but then you already know it. And then you just go ahead on and just finish that test because you know what you know, because you know that you know it. And baby, at the end, when you get that test result back, and if you got 100, you done got an A+. It's like going to the doctor, and the doctor said you need to lose you need to lose some pounds, you need to start eating proper, and then you start working out, and then you start eating proper, and then you go back to the doctor, and the doctor said, you know what? Your blood pressure doesn't drop, you ain't got to be on the pills no more. You was pre-diabetic, but look, you ain't there no more. You got to put in the work to get the results. And see, that's all you got to do. Just go through it. Go through it. It hurt. It hurt. Don't deny the hurt. Don't deny the pain. Don't wallow in it. Don't let it fester. Don't let it build up. Sometimes you have to be quiet. I'm going to show you what this says. It said, wait for the Lord. Be strong and let your heart be courageous. Then it said again, wait for the Lord. Baby, be still. Be still. I ain't saying not do nothing, but whatever you're doing and it's in vain, be still. Be still. Let go and let God. Let go and let God. And get up, put on that whole armor of God. Put on that helmet of salvation, baby. So what they're saying, when you put on that salvation, the thoughts, you won't start, you know what, when you start having those bad thoughts, cast them thoughts out there into that sea. When people and they had a little flap over it, hear nothing. Put on the breastplate of righteousness. When they start throwing those fiery darts, it just penetrate out, they just bounce off of you and stuff like that. Walk, you know what? Walk into whatever it is like you done already won the battle. Walk in it like you done already won the battle. Yeah, this was just something this morning going into the new year. Come on, I want everybody to just your heart posture. Like, if you slumped over, you're gonna have back pain. If you sit right, if you stand right, if you bend right, your body, your body won't be hurting. And I noticed that yesterday when I was standing in the choir singing. And then all of a sudden, I started breathing properly when I was singing. And I started standing a different way. I said, I could have been doing this all along. Why right now? And you know why God said right now? Because when y'all move over to that new church over there, and you be standing up there in that podium singing, I want you to sing your heart out for me. I don't want no ailments. I don't, whatever. So y'all, you know how I'm going into the new year. Then I'm off. Next month I go to the doctor. I was telling the I went to the doctor earlier up in December, and I'm so disgusted with myself, right? So had a gym membership, wasn't going to the gym. So I said, Lord, I'm just so disgusted right now with myself. I'm so upset with me. I had to tell God, I'm not trying to be who I was 20 years ago. I'm not trying to be who I was 5 years ago. I'm not trying to be who I was 30 years ago, because I was fine as frog hair and I was the definition of a brick house. I'm not trying to be that now. I'm trying to be healthy. I'm trying to live long. I'm trying to be a sound mind, you know. So I was telling my doctor, I said, my eating habit is so bad. And I'm not moving around. My body just hurt. And I was wondering, about the Ozempics and the Wegovy and the Rebound. So he said, well, Marita, he said, I want you to do some research first on those drugs that you're asking about. He said, you research them. He said, I don't know if your insurance pay for it or not. He said, talk to your insurance, and if your insurance pay for them, I will prescribe it. He said, well, what I am going to do, he said, however, this is the holidays right now. So what's going to happen is I'm going to put in a order for you to see a nutrition. I'm not saying it right, so charge it to my head and not my heart. A nutritionist, so you can start eating proper. And he said, I want you to get that gym membership back up. And I'm not saying go to the gym every day. I'm not telling you to go full. He said, but at least get up and go to the gym at least 2 or 3 times a week. And when we see the nutritionist, we're going to talk about, let them talk about what you eat and what your portions are. And with that, and you moving around. So I do the research on Wegovy. I do the research on Rebound. I say I didn't want to do the Ozempic because I see how people be looking with the Ozempics. I see how people be looking with all of the stuff. Actually, their face look like they've been smoking crack for 3 months and they ate nothing. Their butt be drooping. I said, I don't want that look for myself. So did call the insurance company. The insurance company does not cover it if I'm not diabetic. So that was a blessing in disguise. That was a blessing in disguise. So what I took from that is start eating properly, get up and go to the gym twice a week, and then got a little gym downstairs that could use the gym downstairs. So in order for me to be the way that I want to be, I got to put in the work to get the results that I want. And I say, Lord, I know it might be some foods that I don't like. However, if it's going to benefit me, I'm going to do that. And I said, by moving, it's going to hurt a little, but no pain, no gain. And what I want, I'm going to go through the pain to get the gain that I want. That I want. So that's what I came on for this morning, to just to pretty much to plead. And if I got to beg, I'm a beg. Please, whatever you're going through, give it to God. He can handle it more better than you can. Yep, you're right. You got, yes, and I know that. And I know that Sarge in charge. And I know that lazy. But lazy ain't gonna get me nowhere. And God didn't give me that spirit. That's just a spirit that jumped on me. So going into the new year, not making no resolutions, self-care is the best care. Letting go and letting God. Expectations in no one, not going out of my way, not going backwards and forward. Just doing what's pleasing and acceptable to God. And to God be the glory. And until next time, tomorrow. Next time, tomorrow. I have a little, I'd be scared to say it on here because I don't know what people, no, I'm not. God didn't give me that spirit. I sit with this little lady, what, 2 hours a day, an hour in the morning and an hour in the afternoon. I sit with this little lady, and I go from 8 to 9, and then from 2 to 3. I'm gonna find a time because I don't do it every day. Tomorrow I have to do it. Wednesday is New Year's Eve. Lord's willing and the creek don't rise. I will be back here 9 o'clock Wednesday for another mess at the end of the year message. So as always, you ain't gonna if you got something going on, you're gonna give it to God. And I'll see you Wednesday and we're gonna talk about it. Have an amazing day. Be blessed and be a blessing to someone. Be encouraged and be encouraging. And just have a beautiful day because this is the day that the Lord has made. We're going to rejoice and we're going to be glad in it. So I'll holler and y'all holler back. Talk with y'all later. I'm outie. Bye.